All right, let's jump right in. In the wild, super competitive world of Layer 1 blockchains, there's a really simple, kind of brutal rule. You either adapt or you fade away. And we're not just talking about being a little faster. We're talking about a constant state of evolution. It's literally the key to survival.
And this quote really nails it. A chain doesn't fail with some big dramatic bang. Nope. It dies this slow, quiet death as users, one by one, just leave. They move their stuff, their attention, to platforms that just work better, platforms that feel instant and seamless.
This really brings us to the heart of it, the high-stakes race that every single Layer 1 is running. See, we're going to look at why speed and innovation are so much more than just buzzwords for a press release. They are fundamental, powerful economic advantages. In this space, any delay, any little bit of lag has a real, immediate cost. So really, every Layer 1 is staring down this fork in the road, heading towards one of two futures. On one side, you've got the thriving growth platform. We're talking a vibrant ecosystem, deep liquidity, developers who actually stick around, and those powerful network effects that just build on themselves. And on the other side, the museum piece, a ghost chain. Users are gone, apps are stalled out, and the whole thing just stagnates.
Okay, so the big question is, how can we tell which chains are actually built for that growth path and which ones are, well, destined for the museum? In this next part, we're going to unpack what I call the vectors of adaptability. Think of it as a framework, a lens for evaluating a chain's real-world viability by looking at three key areas that really separate the winners from the losers. So let's break it down. We're going to look at three things. First, how flexible is its core architecture? Second, what's the speed and quality of its developer ecosystem? We call that developer velocity. And third, how good is it at fine-tuning its own economic incentives? If a project gets these three things right, you've got a pretty solid recipe for long-term success.
First up, architecture. This is huge. Can the chain upgrade its core systems without causing total chaos or a messy hard fork? The smartest chains use modular designs, which basically lets them swap out parts like they're playing with Legos. This means they can innovate way faster, integrating cool stuff like parallelization, that's just handling a bunch of tasks at once, and building more efficient transaction pools to manage congestion before it becomes a problem.
Vector 2 is developer velocity, and honestly, this might be the most important leading indicator of them all. You have to ask, are developers actually supported? Do they have great tools, clear documentation, and access to grants? Seeing a high number of deployments on testnets and, crucially, on-time mainnet releases, those are powerful signals that a project is executing at a really high level.
And our third vector is economic tuning. Think of this as managing the financial engine of the chain. A healthy network is always proactively adjusting its fee market. It makes sure its staking rewards actually make sense for everyone involved, and it works hard to reduce the negative impact of MEV, which is maximal extractable value. Just think of MEV as this hidden tax that sophisticated bots can pull from your transactions. A good chain tries to keep that to an absolute minimum.
Now, we've talked a lot about speed, but it's so important to look beyond those simple, raw metrics like transactions per second. What really matters is the speed that people feel, what you and I actually experience when we're using an app on the chain.
This right here, this gets to the absolute heart of it. As a user, you don't really care what a chain's transactions per second is. What you care about is finality. That's the moment your transaction is locked in, irreversible, and actually done. The only question that matters is how long does that take?
And the benchmark today, the gold standard, is sub-second finality. We're talking less than a second. That's the feeling of instant that we've all come to expect from the modern web, and it's what keeps people engaged and coming back for more. And this is where the magic happens. Sub-second finality completely changes user behavior. It transforms the experience from that frustrating wait and see, where you're just sitting there hitting refresh, to a completely seamless tap and go that feels just like any other great app on your phone. That is the key to real sustainable adoption.
Which leads us to this next big idea. Innovate or become a museum. The most successful ecosystems aren't built on just one or two flashy big bang breakthroughs. No, they're built on a culture of continuous, relentless improvement, day after day.
So what does that culture of innovation actually look like in the wild? Well, it's not one big thing. It's that steady drumbeat of small performance gains. It's the constant hardening of security. It's having a governance process that actually allows for safe and transparent upgrades. And it's a deep, real commitment to making it easy to move assets between different chains.
Okay, so let's get super practical. How can you, as an observer, an enthusiast, an investor, how can you actually track all this stuff? Well, you need to watch the leading indicators of adaptability, the little signals that show you where a chain is really headed.
And this playbook is so powerful because it connects real data to these bigger ideas. For instance, look at the upgrade cadence. How often does the chain ship new code? A regular, predictable schedule signals real operational excellence. How open are they about MEV? Transparency there reveals a ton about their engineering maturity. Then look at fees per user. Are fees going up while the user count is flat? That's a huge warning sign for sustainability. And finally, is validator participation high and decentralized? Altogether, these metrics give you a genuine health check of the entire network.
At the end of the day, it all boils down to this one simple truth. Capital, so that's money, users, developers, you name it, it will always flow to the systems that get the balance right, the ones that offer amazing performance and smart incentives, but also have that crucial ability to adapt to a constantly changing world. So I'll leave you with this question. Using this framework, take a hard look at the landscape out there. Which chains are truly earning their spot, building for the long term? And which ones are slowly but surely starting to gather dust? The answer to that question is going to tell you a whole lot about where the next wave of growth is likely to come from.